As you know, President Obama warned of a deep economic crisis last night if there is no deal to raise the debt ceiling. For more on the president's position, we are joined from the White House by the White House National Economic Council Director, Gene Sperling. Gene, thank you very much for joining us. And, right before you came on, we had Senator Bob Corker from Texas who was saying, look, he believes that even though both sides are still seemingly far apart on this deficit negotiation, it's healthy that both sides are looking at what to do with the long-term debt problem. Would you describe what is going on as healthy?
Well, I think that there is still a lot of bipartisanship in this town, and you've seen a lot of people show a willingness to compromise. The president, as you know, has put forward proposals and plans in this negotiation with Speaker Boehner that were very tough, that were not supported by everyone in our party, but he was trying to bring everyone together to a period of point of bipartisan compromise. You've seen 15, 16 Republicans support the Gang of Six proposal, which would have actually had significantly more revenues as part of tax reform than the president was calling for. But unfortunately, there is still a group in Washington, lawmakers, who are taking more of a my way or the highway approach. And if we could just get everyone to compromise, what the president said last night is we could come to common ground on at least a down payment on deficit reduction and the ability to say to the public and the markets that the threat of default is going to not be a cloud on our economy anymore. That's what our goal is right now, to find that common ground and to push everyone to be part of that compromise.
Well, Gene, I mean, you can't see this, but on the screen there's a little box next to you that basically has a countdown clock, and it shows that we are basically a little over 7 days away from a default. What are the chances that we are going to default here?
As you know, Alexander Hamilton had the foresight more than 200 years ago to put the United States credit beyond reproach. Generations of Americans have benefited from that with lower borrowing costs. It would just be unconscionable for us to allow the political bickering in Washington or for people to be digging into their positions or taking my way or the highway approaches to tarnish that legacy. And it will do damage going forward. So all the president was asking for last night was compromise, bipartisanship. We think there's a lot of different paths to get there. Leader McConnell, the Republican leader, had put forward a path to at least take the threat of default off the table. That's been rejected, but the president was open to that. Senator Reid has a proposal that would go there. There are as many avenues and paths for compromise. That's what our focus is over these next 2 or 3 days.
And yet, the threat of default looms, and people wonder, what is the government going to do if we pass that August 2nd deadline? Does the Treasury have enough money to pay the debts even if we go past August 2nd? What are the contingency plans?
Obviously there is contingency planning going on, but I will tell you there is no scenario that's not fairly unthinkable. There's nothing that would not be enormously harmful to our credibility, to our credit. I mean, we all know that over $500 billion mature and need to be rolled over in August. 80 million checks go out. And maybe even more important, this 200-year legacy of an American commitment to its full faith and credit.
But Gene, but Gene, could you be more specific on, is there enough money to keep the government going for how long?
August 2nd is a very real date, and it's very irresponsible for people to think that there's some easy way out. We will be up to the cusp of default then, and we absolutely have to make sure that we don't get there. That would just be reckless and irresponsible. We're going to do everything to avoid it.
Gene, thank you. Appreciate it. Gene Sperling of the National Economic Council there at the White House.